sense that there's still a bit more that we'd like to talk about. We did have quite a chunk of time scheduled here for response to breakout group actions. There's an item also on funding opportunities and collaborations. That was really something that at the time that we were putting this together thought would be just a useful topic area, because I know it's of concern to all of us. And there's nothing specific that Esri has to offer or to relay there. We just wanted to have that on the schedule in case people wanted to talk about it. But what I've done here is just taken 3 topic areas that I thought would be useful for us to think about and to discuss further if we have the energy to do so. GIS technology directions, ocean science and management directions, and implementation directions. And by directions, I mean directions forward as a result of the discussions we've just had and the information we've received from the breakout groups today. I also want to leave enough time for you to coordinate, collaborate, discuss among yourselves. And then there is also a small group that would like to see the ArcGIS for Maritime demo that Lee and Mike and I believe Tim have available on their laptops. So I want to leave enough time for that. So let me just throw these out here. So GIS technology directions. So we've talked about ArcGIS for Maritime. I've just mentioned that you can get more information and see a demo via laptop. We've talked quite a bit about ArcMarine and directions forward there. You've just heard from Andrew about ArcGIS Online for organizations. And I have sediments, OBIS, human dimensions. Those are just some of the ideas for additional data sets, a whole series of layers that could be deployed via something like ArcGIS for Online for organizations that can then be mashed on top of our base map. So are there any questions, any comments, any further discussion in this area of GIS technology directions? Okay, that was easy. Ocean science and management directions. This is my interpretation of this is that it's along the lines of some of the issues that we've already brought up in terms of publishing, not just publishing our data, but publishing our tools and our approaches along with our scientific papers. This was an issue that I think Pat Halpin brought up, and we've heard quite a bit about this in terms of people's comments and also hallway discussions and the like. Data interactive publications is a new project, and the URL is there for you to look this up. You'll get copies of these slides in case you can't see the font there. This is a fairly new project that Ben Domenico just told me about. I mentioned this yesterday, where the idea is to foster a collaborative environment where you publish a paper, you have a data set, such as perhaps a sea surface temperature data set that you would want to be published along with that publication. And there's the whole idea now of digital object identifiers, not just for your journal article, but also for your data set as well. There's a lot of wonderful work that's going forward in this area in Australia that I just found out about, and I can pass around some of the URLs and the contacts in that area. But with data interactive publications, you put out your data as you are putting out your journal article or your study, and that data can be reviewed. It can be, people can add to it, people can review and assess it. And then I don't know what the final stages would be, but that process is tied into the publication of the study. So this is an idea that Ben, and he's with Unidata, and I believe with UCAR, he's been, I think, floating this across various aspects, various areas of the scientific community, certainly through OGC, and I believe this is going to be discussed at the OGC meeting in January here at Esri. Also across NSF EarthCube, we've heard a little bit about EarthCube. I believe the Marine Metadata Interoperability Project is probably involved in some way as well. So, are there any other issues with regard to these kinds of of more institutional, cultural ways forward for ocean science or ocean management. This is getting even easier, okay? All right, and implementation directions, that is also fairly straightforward because we've talked quite a bit already now about the resource centers. We've talked about the challenge of finding help topics, documentation on tools that already exist within our lexicon of Esri software. We've got thousands of them, and Mo brought this forward very effectively. How can we ease that process so that we don't waste time trying to cobble together a workaround or a solution thinking that it doesn't exist in ArcGIS when it was there all the time? Or what are the best ways to bring in third-party, homegrown approaches? How do we get the most leverage from the great resources, the great capabilities of MGET, Ecosystem-Based Management Tools Network, and so forth? We are constantly seeking to improve our own documentation. We've talked about that. We've talked about the resource centers. So I think that's fairly clear for all of us. There are other ways to build community among us. So you've received information about who's who at this meeting and how to contact that person. Drew has taken, I think, a great step in putting together a LinkedIn community. And Drew, if you wanted to talk about that, we have you got a microphone? You want to mention about that?
Thanks, Don. We just stood up a LinkedIn group. It's currently attached to my LinkedIn profile. It's called Esri Oceans. So if you go to LinkedIn and go to your group's menu and look at directory, you can search for Esri Oceans, or you can find me at Drew Stevens with a PH. So I'm thinking that may be one means to deliver new information about how we're doing with distributing tools and whatnot. There's also a Twitter account called Esri Oceans. And if you check it in a little while, that photo will be up there. The photo is currently being run up a set of stairs. So my role is in helping support the people part of GIS, and we all know how important that can be. So I think social media is certainly a way to go.
So we have a question, if we can run a mic down here to Ben.
It's actually more a comment than a question on the ocean science and management directions. Just comment that there aren't very many, if any, social scientists here in this group, and I think the more that we can engage that community, especially the ones that are using GIS as a platform to figure out how these tools can be modified or improved to deal with social data, it will be really important for feeding into management decision processes, which are becoming more and more social rather than ecological and biophysical processes. So I think it'll just be, as this community grows, we should think strategically about finding those people and bringing them in.
I think that's an excellent point. And one thing I'll say with regard to this specific meeting is that we sent invitations to over 150 people, and we had 50 of you able to survive the process of travel cutbacks and all kinds of adventures that you went through in order to be here. But among that list of 150 people, there were some social scientists there. So that's good because we have them in our contact list, and it would be great to hear about other social scientists that you work with, Ben, or others who have brought up this issue, Ellen, and so forth. One of the things about this summit that I think will be wonderful is that it's going to set the momentum so that we can have other meetings. So first of all, there's the Esri User Conference that you all know about, and we usually have a series of ocean-themed paper sessions at the Esri User Conference. That's certainly going to continue. That's going to grow. We had 6 ocean-themed sessions, I believe, at this year's User Conference. We'll have more, and that will be another opportunity to broaden this community, and we should have social scientists presenting there. But I think even more importantly is that we will have other Esri Ocean meetings. So this is the one and only Esri Oceans Summit. But following this, there will be Esri Ocean conferences. And so that will be, this was invitation-only setting here, but the Esri Ocean conferences will be all comers. We will advertise that heavily. We'll be working on what the venue, how we will handle that in terms of whether we will bring people here or elsewhere. We usually have, for instance, the Esri Forestry Conference, and that's here every year. There's the Geodesign Summit that many of you have participated in. That's here every year. We have our facilities. But that will be the opportunity for us to broaden our network even further. And that will be just a traditional conference. So we can have social scientists, we can have policymakers, commercial fishermen, anyone who is interested in the oceans come to present at that conference. And it'll be more, submit your abstract, map gallery, and so forth. So stay tuned for that. Can we run the microphone over to Ellen here?
On that, On that note, there is a group called Too Big to Ignore, which I don't know if you've heard of, but it's a global network that just got funded by Canada, the Canadian government. That's a network that's totally interdisciplinary. It's really lovely. That's out of Memorial University of Newfoundland that talks about small-scale fishers and a lot of the issues that they have to deal with all over the world. And Rudolph de Villiers and myself are part of that group that are in charge of making sure that the social science and the biophysical data get into a GIS database. And we are going to be having a meeting that is at the same time as the Coast GIS meeting in Victoria next June. So if there are people who are interested in working with social scientists or social science data or looking at some of these issues, perhaps email me and I'll make sure you get on a list for that meeting.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you, Ellen. And these kinds of information snippets will be valuable for the WAVE newsletter because we're going to be putting that out more frequently now. And, of course, growing our list of recipients to that publication. Are there other comments or questions? So regarding the proceedings of this meeting, we are doing our best now to capture everything that was put on flip charts. Some of you have submitted to us photographs of the whiteboards. You've passed on handwritten notes, electronic notes, and we are going to put together a formal proceedings for the meeting, including your position papers. So one last gentle reminder, if you've not signed your life away on our Esri form to grant permission for your position paper to be published in terms of being put on the web, please do so. I believe there's another form just to signify that you are all right with us posting your contact information on the website as well in terms of who was here at this important meeting. So just check in with Pinkham at the registration desk in the lobby. We'll try to get the proceedings out as quickly as possible, and those are likely going to be available on the esri.com/events/oceans website that already has information about this summit. So I would like to extend a great thanks to all of you. This has been, I think, a tremendous meeting. Thanks to my Esri colleagues also. The participation of everyone was just stellar. I think it's just fantastic how everything came together. We really appreciate the effort that you put into this, and it's going to help us at Esri tremendously. And thank you again for coming, and we're glad that at least we were able to provide some sunshine for you, and wish you safe travels back. So I'm going to officially end our plenary session, and thanks also to those who visited us via live stream and tried to follow along. Have a great weekend. So now I'm just going to let you disperse